These niggas stay way jealousy. I'm doing good, that's what they hearing me. This girl is in my memory. Oh, if I get your felony.
What is up, you guys? Sage here, and today we're going to be talking about why higher price is going to equate to more value for your customers. Who am I? I'm Omoy. Sold supplements, where I read 11 business/self-improvement books. Then went into personal training. From personal training, went to coaching, discovered a love for business, and here we are today, expanding our knowledge and sharing our knowledge. Now, today's reference point is going to come from our trusty $100 million offers by Alex Hormozi. Great book, highly recommended. Now, he talks about the particular points, number one, for the customer and then for the business, that are gained from raising the price, right? Or that are directly correlated to whether the price is raised or decreased. Now, from the client's end, this includes their emotional investment. The more they pay for something, the more emotionally invested they're going to be in what they paid for. Number two is the perceived value. If I bought something and it didn't cost me much, I'm going to assume that it can't be that valuable, because why did I get it for so cheap? Third is the results, right? Your perceived likelihood of achieving the thing based on the fact that you have invested so much and you think that it is so valuable, so you're going to be more focused on getting it. The results that are going to come as a result of it are going to be increased, the demandingness of the customer. Now, if I paid a lot of money for this thing because I believe that it's valuable, do you think I'm going to demand every drop and every ounce of it? Comparatively, say someone who looks to pay as little as something for possible versus someone who looks to pay for what it's worth, or hopefully to get a deal, but at a high ticket price. Usually the people who are paying high ticket prices have a very real and realistic understanding of the world, and are therefore going to be looking for certain key triggers. And if you hit those marks, then they're going to be satisfied with the purchase, versus people who typically use cheaper things will be a lot more demanding of that thing, right? And that's unfortunately just how the world works. And also your revenue for fulfillment is going to increase as well. So from the client side, this person's going to be more invested, the perceived value is going to increase, the results are going to increase, demandingness goes down, and the money that you have to actually do the thing that you're supposed to do, you're going to have more of it, right? Okay, so for the business, obviously your profit's going to increase, your perceived value of self is going to increase, your perception of impact, the impact that you're making by doing this thing, your results are going to increase, your service levels are going to increase, and the sales team conviction, meaning say you own the business yourself, you are the sales team, your conviction, your belief in your product is going to increase if you have, number one. Now, last video we talked about the Grand Slam offer, right? We talked about the way that you should set this business up in order to be able to differentiate yourself from the market, so you can charge these high ticket prices. Now, when you're here, when you're in this position, when it's prime time, baby, you're in the middle of the game and it's time to make this sale, you're going to have a lot more conviction, knowing that you've suffered through that and you've figured out all the ways that you can solve every single problem that could possibly come in every single problem that could possibly be plaguing a person that would cause them to look for your service, right? So everything from the time they step in to when they are done getting what you have to give, you've thought of all the problems that happen in between and you've solved every single one of those problems. So how much conviction are you going to have to sell this to them? Because not only are you going to be saying that they need it because it's your product, but you're also going to be saying that they need it because you actually genuinely believe yourself that you have done this thing, you've made this thing for that avatar, you've made it for them. So your sales process is going to be a whole lot easier on you, and you're going to be a lot more believable because you do believe, because it's true. Now that we've gone through that, I also wanted to make this point as well, which is about the perception, from the customer side as well, from the client side. When you've, like I said, gone through the hard work and made this offer exceptional, by charging that high ticket price, you're also increasing the customer's perception of your product. A great example of this was done through wine tasting, right? They had 3 wines and they blind tested, which means they covered the label of this one, label of this one, label of this one, and they showed only the prices of the wines. So people tasted the first one and they said, you can taste that it's a cheap wine. This wine is absolutely, yeah, you can 100% tell it's a cheap wine. Tasted the middle one, it's like, I mean, it's all right, but yeah, it's definitely better than that first one. They tasted the last one, they said, you know what? This is the one. This is definitely the most expensive wine. I see why it's the most expensive. It has the best taste. Guess what? They were all the same wine. All they did was cover the labels and show those prices in front of it. It was the exact same bottle of wine in all 3 instances, right? So the most expensive wine, cheapest wine were the exact same wine. But people gave different reviews based on what? Their perception of how valuable it is, based solely on the price tag that's on the front. That's why you should charge more prices, because people will perceive that your product must be there must be a reason why you would charge that much. There's no conceivable reason why you would have what you do have, which is a Grand Slam offer, and then not charge a high ticket price for it. That just simply wouldn't make sense. In terms of what we talked about, including the fulfillment and stuff like that, you're going to have more revenue to actually do what you're supposed to do for the person, make sure they succeed, right? Which brings me to my next one, which is in the summary, right? So basically, in the beginning, I did a synopsis of what this whole chapter is about, which is how increasing your prices would affect your customers. And then I talked about how simply, okay, so it's just how increasing the prices will affect the customers on an individual level, how it affect the business on each individual point, and then how solely just the price will also affect how the customer perceives everything. But then on a summary point, is what you should take from this. It's first and foremost, charge premium. It will allow you to do things that no one else can do to make your clients successful. We were able to charge a premium price because we provided more value than anyone else in the industry in a real way. We were changing on a fraction of what our clients made using our system. This is important. Our clients still got a deal. The gap between what they paid, price, and what they got, value, was massive. As a result, the virtuous cycle continued to spin. We charged the most money, we provided the most value. Okay? So the virtuous cycle is this here, which is basically what I was going through in the beginning, which is when you decrease the price, you're going to decrease the emotional investment, decrease perceived value, decrease results. You're going to increase how much they demand from you, and you're going to decrease the revenue that you have to fulfill how much they're demanding you. Whereas on the flip side, if you increase the price, you're increasing the emotional investment, you're increasing the perceived value, increasing the results, decreasing the demandingness, because they've paid. People who typically pay at a certain price point expect certain goals to be met, and if those goals are met, then they're happy. Whereas people who typically want to pay less are looking for everything, right? And you have more money to fulfill the desires of the customer anyway, you know? So, yeah, and then obviously on the business side, I don't have to reiterate that. I covered that in the beginning of the video. So basically, long story short, in summary, charge more. After you make that Grand Slam offer by going through some of the key points that we went through yesterday, and then you apply that to your business, you figure out how can I attach these certain things to my thing in order to increase the value of it. You know, how do I present the dream outcome, increase the perceived likelihood of achievement, decrease the time delay, decrease the effort and sacrifice, and make this Grand Slam offer. And then when I have this Grand Slam offer and my business is at that point, here's why ethically you should charge high ticket prices. There's always more to say, and we will cover those on another day. But for today, I've been Sage, signing out.